I'm with it, man. We need to go. We need to figure out what's really going on under those pyramids, man. More artifacts, more truth. But man, the Pyramid of the Sun in Bosnia, we gotta look into that. We gotta check this out. I got my notepad, my notes. It's time to jump in the submersible. Activate. Some of y'all said y'all don't like the submersible, man. We ain't kids. You know, man, let me do my thing, y'all. I enjoy doing this. This is how I have fun. So stop making fun of me. Now, let's do this research, you see? Pyramid of the Sun. How interesting is that? Pyramid of the Sun, though? That's punk in a shirt. But there are temples under the dirt. Shout out to my lunch break for this video, man. If you love Tartaria just as much as me, my lunch break is the best when it comes to breaking all this stuff down. Be sure to check them out. Let's dive into this video.
Covered by a layer of dirt and grass. If the layer of grass was removed and exposed what is really under it, the entire USA narrative would be completely shredded and thrown in the garbage, as it should be. People would be so confused why there's a massive pyramid and other pyramids connected to each other. It's a 2,200 acre site. Construction of the Monks Pyramid began about 1,123 years ago. So they say, on a site that has already been occupied by buildings. Already had buildings? I'm sorry, what? In the year 900, they already had buildings? So at the same time, over in Italy, we have the St. Mark's Basilica being built in a time period before they even knew how to make paper, supposedly. So Italy is building this, and then we have massive pyramids and buildings being built in the USA. By the Mississippian culture, which is completely ridiculous. Because if they can build massive pyramids, then they can build a better hut than this to live in. The narrative is contradicting itself, because 850 years later, we get cowboys and Indians, and everyone is freezing in the winters in their shed. And so we're on the same page. The St. Mark's Basilica and these pyramids were built in the year 850 to 900, supposedly. And then we have all kinds of basilicas and massive structures being constructed for centuries in this ridiculous timeline that we're given. And then once 1900 hits, we are no longer able to construct the St. Mark's Basilica, or a Cologne Cathedral, or a Milan Cathedral. It is very clear that there was a reset, and our timeline is a complete fabrication.
You know, I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence about the 1,000-year reign, guys, because could you imagine, could this be possibly one of the buildings during the 1,000-year reign? I'm starting to think about it, man. They added 1,000 years to our timeline or took away 1,000. I don't know. We definitely need to dive into that soon, but not right now. We on these pyramids, but best believe it's coming.
My opinion. Now, if you're on the fence, this should help bring you over. If this was a narrative that you would stand by, blindly accepting, no matter what, I think this is the time to reconsider. Since you would be backing up a mainstream narrative theory that is, by admission, a theory, and not all proven. Botanical, or a substance from a plant that they found that remains from the monk pyramid, suggests it was built much more quickly than previously thought. Suggests, perhaps, maybe, on the order of several consecutive decades, but we don't know. It might be, providing an alternative view of its construction history. And there we have it. The mainstream narrative cannot explain these structures because they don't fit into the mainstream timeline. A much more logical explanation is that the previous civilization was here, an extremely advanced civilization. Should we blow this narrative away? Should we expose it and show that they are not being truthful with us? Should we show that it's not from 1,000 years ago? Let's do it. Thomas I. Ramey, who bought the site in 1864, of course. As soon as the 1800s hit, like we talked about, this is when they had to figure out the narrative. And this site was not fitting in. They tell us that an era of more responsible ownership began. What a joke. Many artifacts were found at or near the surface. Really? Finding the old world's things and removing them so that we don't see. Very interesting. So there were things here in the 1800s that would have been important for our research. Ramey had a tunnel made, or did he locate one? After everything we have seen, even in the last 5 episodes, do you?
They didn't have that tunnel made. You guys know, they found that tunnel, just like they found all these buildings. For entertainment purposes, don't come for me. Talk to him my lunch break. Talk to him, MLB.
Do you think this guy made a tunnel, or do you think he found one? And of course, they brush it off and say that the tunnel revealed nothing of historic interest. I'm sorry, but the first time I read that, I laughed out loud. Could this be any more in your face and right on point with what we were talking about? Tunnels, removing things from the site, all once our new civilization's timeline hits. Not in the 1400s or 16.
Keep a look at how they blot out the sky too. I'm sure this was so much more in the sky, but they blocked everything out, didn't they? The first Photoshop ever. Look at this. If we zoomed in all the way, I bet you could see crooked lines. The worst, oldest Photoshop ever.
1800s? No. Right when the mid-1800s hit, this all takes place. Incredible. And if you thought I was crazy, thinking that removing the dirt would expose the past civilization's work, let me show you what I'm talking about, and exactly why they keep this thing covered up with grass and dirt. In 1970, they adopted an incredible strategy, one that only a genius would ever think to do, scraping away the topsoil. Unbelievable. They dug down 2 feet, and this quickly revealed various features, including what appeared to be the outline of the temple. 2 feet under the dirt, we have a temple. We have something unbelievable. This is not a mound, this is a pyramid. And I'm sure the architecture is insane and unexplainable in this make-believe mainstream narrative timeline, which is why it's covered up with dirt and grass, as well as the rest of the 2,200 acres of pyramids.
I'm telling you, man, there's probably more pyramids in America than there is anywhere else. Them boys are just buried under dirt. And the archaeologists or whoever, the Smithsonian, they know. They like, man, we ain't even gonna touch this one. Because it's gonna expose a lot. You see, they trying to get rid of all these cathedrals and stuff, you know? So it's like, man, for entertainment purposes only, they like, leave it there. They don't need any more ammo for us. But MLB gonna break it down for us. I love these videos.
This technique was, of course, opposed by professional archaeologists. So they stopped because they found too much and would shatter their lie.